locked in to the Sounds Like Fun podcast.
It don't matter underground or the mainstream. We taking over everything, American dreams. Make a move, long nights to the light beams. Urban Stone, we the motherfucking A-team. I go crazy on this track, man, I spit dope.
What's going on, world? Welcome to another episode of the Sounds Like Fun podcast. I'm your host, Serial Sensei. You can check this podcast out under my main podcast page, the Dojo Talk podcast, on SoundCloud, Spotify. Sounds Like Fun podcast has a separate YouTube page that you can check out. I will leave all relevant links to where you can listen to this below. Give me a look. Yeah, it's been a little bit. I feel like I say that every episode. Been working on a lot. If you follow me on social media, you know I've been working still heavy on my book grind, trying to get these physical copies out. So my book, the Oddball Chronicles, is also out for 99 cents on Amazon if you want to give that a look. And when I have physical copies ready, I will give an update ASAP. I'm working on that. Hopefully, trying to have that done within like the next week or two. So real quick before I get started on this review, we're coming to the end of the year, man. We're already in December. So my plan is I'm going to try to do the Black Thought, Streams of Thought Volume 2. And then I'm going to try to squeeze in JID somewhere within like the next 2 weeks. I want to do both of those reviews. And then the next review I do will probably just be my top 20, or I'd say my favorite 20 albums of the year. I think last year I waited till January to do it. I don't know. So you know, some people drop like surprise albums. So I don't know. But probably after Black Thought and the JID review, the next thing after that will probably just be my favorite 20 albums of the year. So I gotta, because I haven't even started compiling that list. And the way music has gone this year, there's just been so many projects. So I gotta figure out. This is probably going to be one of the hardest lists that I've done since I've started making like my favorite albums of the year lists. And I used to do these on blogs, and now I do them on podcasts, obviously. But yeah, in recent memory, this is easily going to be the hardest one, because it's so much good music that's been out this year. But I'm sorry, my phone is ringing. But yeah, so let's get into it. Without further ado, the album that I will be reviewing today is Fetti, and this comes from a collab between Curren, Freddie Gibbs, and Alchemist. So if you don't know, but you should, but if you don't know, Curren, MC from New Orleans, he's been in the game for a pretty long time. He was with No Limit back in the day, with the 504 Boys. I think he was on Young Money at a point in time. A lot of people know him from his Pilot Talk series, as well as a host of other projects that he's put out throughout the years. Freddie Gibbs, MC from Gary, Indiana. If you listen to the Pinata album that he did with Madlib, a lot of people know him from that. Can't remember any of his other albums, but he's been in the game for a little bit now. I think recently, I would say as of like the last 3 to 4 years, I think he's been hitting a pretty good stride with gaining more popularity, putting out a lot of projects that a lot of people seem to enjoy. Alchemist, if you don't know Alchemist, bro, I don't really know what to tell you. Like, dude, legend in the game, producer, MC, DJ. He's Eminem's official DJ. He's produced for everybody, from like Mobb Deep to just listen to the first Infantry album. Alchemist has been in this game for a minute. If you don't know who Alchemist is, I don't know what to tell you. Dude's a legend. Let's just keep it at that and keep it moving. So before I start talking about this album, I actually want to real quick kind of go about brief history of like these artists, because this collective was interesting to me. and I was wondering how this would work, because I've known of Currency for a while, but I was never like a big fan of him. It's not to say like I think he's whack. I just don't really listen to his music all that much. And to be honest, it's kind of the same with Freddie Gibbs. Or I've at least listened to a few Freddie Gibbs albums. He's done features that I liked, like the feature he did with Cunning Linguist on the Onerology album. I think it was The Hardest They Come. So he's done, like, I've listened to some of his projects. I've heard songs and features, but I honestly can't say like I'm a big fan of him either. And he's one of those dudes that like I want to like, because I feel like everybody else really, really likes him. And then I listen to him and I'm like, it's not that I don't think he's whack, but it's just, I don't know. He's not like a go-to for me. I guess I would say. But Alchemist, I'm definitely a big fan of. Like I mentioned, his first Infantry album, man. A lot of songs on that album that I like. The Step Brothers project that he did with Evidence. I think I might have reviewed that. I don't remember. I think I reviewed that way back when. But that album I still listen to and enjoy. A lot of crazy beats on that album. So out of these three, I've been an Alchemist fan the most, which is kind of weird. Like, I'm a fan of the producer, the MCs. They're not, like I said, they're not bad, but they're just not like go-tos for me. But I was just interested to listen to this album because I thought it was an interesting pairing, and I didn't know that apparently these three have done a song together. I think it was a Currency song, if I'm correct, but yeah, I didn't know that these three apparently had some kind of history together. And I think this album, Fetti, was recorded over the course of like a week or two. So yeah, I just wanted to listen to this to see what is this going to sound like with these three meshing together, because there's a lot of different styles to mesh together over a project, even though the project is only 9 tracks. So quick listen, you can get in and out. So as far as my listening experience, yeah, I know I wasn't like a big fan of Gibbs and Currency, and I don't know if this will make me fans of like their other work, but if these three put out more projects together, I'm definitely listening to it, because I love this off a rip. Like off of the very first listen, I was like, no, this is it. What stole the show for me, I would probably say, and probably biased because he's the one person that I was a fan of in this collective, it was Alchemist. He didn't rap on this project, but boy, oh boy, that production. Then these beats, boy, Alchemist was on one, man, when he made these beats. From the very first track, Location Remote, you get that super dark, brooding, just that synth is so just sinister, and it's the vocal sample, the way he set the album off with that beat, it's just so dark and brooding, but it had just a certain energy to it. And then just other beats he did on here, like he did a good job of, he gave them some different vibes to rock over. And I kind of like how, like, the beats to me are like, they're minimum but they're effective. Like, you'll get like a dope vocal sample, a nice loop or chop of a beat. You'll get some drums, but it's not like a ton really going on. But like what he does with that little, it just works. It's just really effective. And like I said, he gave them a few different looks. Like, you get tracks, obviously like Location Remote, which I mentioned earlier, and then other tracks like Willie Lloyd. I love that dark piano on Willie Lloyd. That like those tracks have like a darker vibe to them. And then you get joints like Saturday Night Special that have this super spacey, floating on a cloud, going off to like the stars and the moon kind of atmosphere. I really love that beat. Then you get joints like the closing track, Bundy and Sincere, that kind of have more of a head nod, kind of jazz lounge, hip hopish feel to it. Another track, the one joint where Freddie Gibbs was on his Freddie Pendergrass, the Now and Later Gators. Alchemist gave him a really smooth joint to just kind of do his thing over. So that he gave them I just love the beats on him, man. Like I said, he gives just really dope. Just it's simple but super effective. But it's hard to describe, but it's just super dope. Like I said, just really great choice of samples and loops. Give you some good drums. It just creates a certain feel, and I think the production style he went, because it's kind of minimum. It's not a ton going on, so it kind of gives the MCs a good, they're not like being overpowered by the beat. It gives them a really nice foundation for them to kind of do their thing. So it's like a perfect complement to what they're doing. But for me, it was what made the project. I just love the whole sound of the project. Rapping wise, I enjoyed what I got from Currency and Gibbs. I feel like this production like brought something out of them that like made them like step it up or go up a level. Like I said, I haven't listened to a ton of Currency albums, but a lot of times I've heard him. He's very like laid back and subdued. Like that's kind of the style of rap that I've heard from him. And there were beats on here where he picked up his flow a little bit. Like he noticeably had a bit more just kind of oomph, and not like he was like on here yelling and screaming or anything crazy, but it just sounded like he was a bit more upbeat. Like he had just a bit more. It was a bit more of an energy to him. So I thought it was dope that these beats were able to like bring that out of Currency. And same with Freddie. Well, Freddie is definitely the more aggressive MC on this album. He just brings that raw. They have a nice. He and Currency have a nice. They play off of each other nice. Like Freddie's gonna give you that aggressive street rap, and Currency's gonna hit you kind of with that, a little bit smoother, a little more chill, a little more laid back. He's not as in your face as Freddie. So I think they bounce off of each other pretty well in that aspect. So I just like what these beats were able to bring out of them. Like on I think it was like the second track, The Blow. Love that beat too and that sample. You can go. I love that sample on there, but like Currency was really comfortable over that. And on The Blow, he really like picked up his flow. Like he was rapping like a bit faster. He had a little more energy. He seemed like really in his pocket. The track New Things, he had that's another dope one here. Probably one of Currency's best verses. I love the line, I pulled up in a what's this, I came out in a what's that, a little switch up move, and that's a stunt double pack. Like he just has these little nice, like, I'm kind of flossing on you lines. So I enjoyed that. He had a couple of good bars, good one-liners on here. Though I would say Gibbs, I think out of the two MCs, Gibbs probably did have more of the memorable like lines and parts on this album. I think it's just because he's the one he's more aggressive. He's more like commanding, so he stands out more. But like going back to the first track, Location Remote, like Currency's verse was dope, but man, Gibbs came in, man. He killed it. The Trump sweating bullets on Diet Coke, sniffing powder up, and if you build the wall, we gonna bring that dope underground with us. And then that very last bar when he's I rep the pack like I'm Stunner Man, legend in this bitch, might do Coachella as a hologram. I was like, yo, this dude, that Coachella line, I was like, yo, Gibbs is on one. Like these beats brought something out of him, man. He was in go mode. But Yeah, it was cool. This was really dope to listen to. Like I said, a lot of good flows. Um, Gibbs on I mentioned it earlier on Now and Later Gators. Alchemist gave him this real smooth, sultry beat, and Gibbs, like I said, he activates his Freddie Pendergrass. He gets on his singing tip. It doesn't sound all that great, but like I don't think it was meant to be taken like super seriously. So I just enjoyed it because it sounds kind of goofy, but like it works at the same time. But that beat is dope though. Regardless, that beat that Alchemist laced them with on that track is fire. So I enjoyed that, just like the different flows and delivery that Currency and Gibbs both had on this album. And to be honest, like it's not really a ton to dissect. This album is just beats and rhymes. Like you're not gonna get a ton of like hooks, like hooks. Like you're gonna get some nice vocal samples. Or you do get a hook on Now and Later Gators, but like I said, it's not like a hook heavy album. Like you get some dope vocal samples, but it's just a lot of just beats and rhymes. But like it's these hard, these really dope Alchemist beats, whether they be the ones that are like a bit more dark, whether they're like Bundy and Sincere, they got a little more knock to them, or like Tapatio has that smooth God, how was that melody? I can't think. I love the melody on Tapatio though. I can't hum it out right now. But he gives them a nice variety of beats to go over, and it just comes together really well. And like I said, I think Freddie Gibbs definitely really shined on here. Like his just aggressive street rap, and the way he delivered his bars, I just think it really fits well over this production. And the same for Currency. Like I've heard people be critical of Currency that say like he's like, it's not that he's a bad rapper, but sometimes he's just not really interesting to listen to. And he held my attention like over these kind of beats. Like I enjoyed listening to him. Like there was never a point in this album where I was like, oh, I gotta cut this off, or I'm losing interest. Like, nah, from track 1 down to track 9, I was with it. Like this album really caught me by surprise. I did not think I was gonna enjoy this as much as I did. And I would say if they choose to do another project, I would love for it to be longer. Give me a good like 12 to 13 tracks. And the fact that this was created over about a week, or I think a week or 2 weeks time, it would be dope to see what they could put together if they maybe sat down for like a month and a half and maybe really fleshed out some ideas. But either way, man, this joint, this was hard. that's the gist of it. Like this album is just hard. So I'll just get into some of my favorite tracks. So obviously I've mentioned this track like 30 times, but Location Remote, easily my favorite track on here. Opening track to the album, super just dark beat. Currency and Gibbs both kill it. Just really good way to set the album off. Tapatio, another favorite one. I love that smooth sample and that melody that's on that beat. And Gibbs was a bit, that was another track where I really liked Gibbs' flow. He kind of had like a faster delivery on that one. So Tapatio was dope. New Things, which I mentioned earlier, that piano sample from Alchemist. And like I said, that was one of the better Currency verses, probably one of his best verses on the album. Saturday Night Special was a favorite. Like I said, just how spacey that beat is. It's so just dreamy. Like it's super just atmospheric and dreamy. I really love that beat. Willie Lloyd, I love it because of how dark it is with that piano. That's like half the album. So like I said, it's only 9 tracks. There aren't really any tracks on here that I don't like. Like Bunny and Sincere is really dope. Like I said, I like the blow because I like the sample that he uses. It's very hum friendly, and that hook is very hum friendly. Yeah, like all these tracks are dope. No Windows Tints was cool. This whole album's pretty good. Like I don't really have any complaints. Like for a 9-track album, they didn't really do any filler. They came in, they gave you what you wanted, and they got out. So if you're a Freddie Gibbs fan, I'd imagine you'd probably like this. If you're a Currency fan, I think you'd enjoy this. If you're not a fan of either of them, which I would say I'm kind of in that boat, or like they're just okay to me. They're like I said, they're not like a go-to for me. But even I, who am not the biggest fan of Currency and Gibbs, I thoroughly enjoyed listening to this, and it's been in the rotation. I don't know how it's going, if it'll make the top 20, boy. It's some stiff competition this year, but nah, man, I thoroughly enjoyed this project. But man, shout outs to Alchemist, because I loved every beat on this album. Really love his production style. Gotta listen to his EP. He put out an EP that I have not checked out, which I might listen to that as soon as I'll cut this mic off. But nah, man, this album just really dope, man. Gibbs, Currency, and Alchemist came together. They gave you just 9 tracks of really dope beats and rhymes, like street rap kind of mixed with that fly kind of laid back rap, all over some crazy Alchemist production. And these 3 came together to make something really well. And like I said, I would really enjoy if they did a part 2, and like I said, stretch it out, maybe give me about 3 more tracks and flush out some more like complete ideas. And I think these dudes could have, they could make a really, really, really good album. But nah, man, Fetti, Currency, Freddie Gibbs, Alchemist, give this joint a listen. It's only 9 tracks. Get in, get out. If you just want beats and rhymes over fire Alchemist beats, you know, this where it's at. It doesn't get any better. But I don't have much else to say, because at this point I'd just be repeating myself. But Fetti is fire. Give it a listen. I promise you, if you like this style of hip hop, you'll love this album. But that's all I got for today, man. This has been another episode of the Sounds Like Fun podcast. I'm your host, Serial Sensei, and until next time, I will catch you guys later.